my name is Amy Alvarez, and welcome to Psych 1A, Professor Fell's class. Chapter 5, Learning. The definition of learning is the absorption of knowledge by the brain for educational and future life purposes. In this scene, Tina is in the kitchen preparing to cook a meal. She is unaware that the stove has already been lit by a friend and inadvertently touches the stove and in turn learns that it is hot.
Oh my gosh, did you see George? He was dressed so hot yesterday. I mean, the boy is so God damn it, it's so hot!
Yeah.
All day, son.
The next concept we're going to introduce is Ivan Pavlov's classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is learning how to make a reflex response other than the original stimulus that produces the response. Next topic we're covering now is extinction, which is the disappearance of a learned response after we take away the unconditioned stimuli. Remember, the unconditioned stimuli is the food, and the learned response is the dog salivating. What happens if we take away the food but kept the whistle?
All day, son. Surprise! Shut up.
Okay. If we take away the food and we kept the whistle, the dog would eventually stop salivating. The next topic we're going to cover is spontaneous recovery. Spontaneous recovery is what happens when a conditioned response returns after the conditioned stimuli returns too. Remember, our conditioned stimuli is the food dish, that every time the dog sees a food dish, it will start salivating. Now watch this scene.
Yeah, just say,
This is known as spontaneous recovery.
Conditioned emotional response. A physical or emotional response to a stimulus being anything, i.e. a noise, an animal, or a phobia.
something you're afraid of, son. Like spiders and snakes, son.
Look, a very nice flower. What a beautiful garden I have. Look at the trees.
I'm getting a real snake out. What better way to strike fear than to have a real snake? Oh, he's hungry. He's hungry and scared. Is it?
A snake!
Oh, it looks real. It is a real snake. Oh my god. Get it away from me.
No. So, it didn't work out as I would expected, but she did freak out. Fakely, though. Tina was gardening, and the snake approached her. It was fear. It struck fear in her, and she ran away. It was a conditioned emotional response, which was fear.
B.F. Skinner came up with the term operant conditioning as a way to explain a learned behavior. Operant conditioning is learned behavior through voluntary measures and life experiences. The law of effect, a psychology term governed by positive and negative experiences. If the response is positive, it will likely be repeated. If the response is negative, the response
Less likely to repeat.
Now we're going to talk about primary and secondary reinforcers. The primary reinforcer is something that satisfies a basic need, such as hunger. A secondary reinforcer is something associated with the primary reinforcer. In the next scene, you'll see how an example of primary and secondary reinforcer about pain pills and pain.
all day, son.
Hey, welcome to Home Pharmacy. How may I help you?
Yeah, I just need to pick up a prescription real quick.
Oh, okay. What's your name?
Jordan Lopez.
Okay, let me look that up for you. Here you go, Jordan.
I'm not gonna scan it, bro.
Oh, let's scan it.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. It's going to be $2.
Raping the system. Alright guys, next we're going to talk about the concept of reinforcement. More specifically, the negative and positive reinforcement. Now, positive is pretty self-explanatory. You know, a child gets an A on his report card, on his or her report card, and they get $10. It reinforces a behavior, which then will prompt him to repeat that behavior. So negative is kind of sometimes misconstrued. A lot of people think as negative reinforcement as a bad thing, but pretty much it's you're put in a negative situation and you still have a positive reward for it. For example, a kid gets a F on his report card, and the parent goes ahead and gives them $5 or says, hey, you know what, good try, nice try, let's go get an ice cream. That's negative reinforcement.
Mom, I got an A on my test.
An A on your test? Gee, that's great, Amy. You're going to get $10 from me. Here you go.
Mom, I got an F and I'm trying to be funny.
What's an F? That is okay, Jordan. We're going to go to the ice cream shop and get some ice cream. I'm sure you'll do better next time.
Alright, so shaping. Basically what that means is, in a sense, molding or building from the ground up. Hold it 10 feet up in the air, that's not going to work. It's not realistic. The animal will probably look at you like you're stupid. Start off small. So you would get the hula hoop and you would put it on the ground so it's actually flat with the surface, or touching the ground. Lion or zebra, dolphin, whatever you have. And just kind of put a treat on the other side, or call it to the other side. After a while, you would lift it up an inch, 2 inches, then it steps over it. And so continue this until you get where it's the animal's prime jump is at.
In this scene, Jordan is a baby, and he was bad because he was throwing his food. And in response, we took away his rattle, something that he liked.
Your food, be a good boy. Ah. Oh, what the hell? That's really... I'm gonna have to take this away, because you're a bad boy.
The fuck? I mean, whack. Alright, this is punishment by application. When something such as spanking or swatting is added to the situation.
Jordan, why are you coloring on the wall?
This is the kind of punishment that most people think of when they do hear the word punishment is spanking or swatting on the coloring on the wall, and they get swatted on the hand or on the butt. And punishment by removal is usually misconstrued with negative reinforcement. Punishment by removal is when you physically take something pleasurable away from a child or someone. Putting a child in timeout, that's a form of punishment by removal. A form of punishment is usually more acceptable by society standards. The problem with punishment does have its drawbacks. Unlike reinforcement or positive reinforcement, you're trying to lower or lessen a behavior that's being done by punishment. Where a lot of the times punishment just suppresses a behavior for a certain amount of time.
Jordan, where have you been? You were supposed to be home last night.
I'm sorry.
Give me your keys, they're grounded.
Seriously?
Yeah. Give me.
Whatever.
Fixed interval schedule or reinforcement is when a reinforcer is received after a fixed interval of time, such as people getting tattooed every 2 weeks. variable schedule reinforcement is the reinforcement that is received from time to time, such as gambling, playing the slot machine, or just gambling on a scratcher.
Alright, I won!
In fixed ratio, whoa, what is that? In fixed ratio schedule reinforcement, number of responses you receive after each reinforce will always be the same, such as having a certain amount of money after a certain amount of piecework that you've done. In variable ratio schedule reinforcement, the reinforcer received is not known from one time to the next, such as putting your money in a slot machine. You don't know when you're going to win until you really hit the jackpot.